In other words, to understand the pyramidal effect, it is necessary to enter the quantum universe. Let's take an atom. An atom is a cluster of particles. The nucleus is made of protons, positive charge, and neutrons, neutral charge. The protons are protons, and the neutrons are neutrons, depending on the subparticles that form them. Around this cluster of protons and neutrons, other clusters revolve. The orbiting clusters are electrons, but each of these electrons is composed of extraordinary amounts of subparticles. The electron is formed by a higher density nucleus, an inner atmosphere, and an outer atmosphere. The whole electron is composed of all the families of subparticles but with different proportions in each of these three divisions. An electron rotates hundreds, thousands, millions, and even trillions of times per second around the atomic nucleus. Not all do it at the same speed. Some electrons do it at a higher rate than the speed of light. Imagine that we could reduce in size. In that case, we would have reached the proportions of the speed of that micro-universe, and we would see close to its core, from the inner atmosphere, a landscape like this. Observing the corpuscles that we call quantus or subquantus, the scenario that appears in front of us is the same as we would see with the most powerful telescope. The universe works with the same laws in the infinitely big as in the infinitely small. The question of size is relative only to the body's consciousness and the universe we occupy. In that great family of subparticles, entirely analogous to the family of stellar bodies and groups, there is a unique group called neutrinos. Every neutrino tends to go back and forth through the muonic, electronic, and tauonic states. The last one, the tauonic state, is the most stable. It lasts much longer than the other states, forming large groups of quintillions of other neutrinos in tauonic state, sometimes reaching more than 1 meter in diameter, and exceeding almost a minute in duration. They form what we know as orbs, also called biological organ ions, or bags of neutrinos. These luminous balls that only appear in the photos and some videos with infrared, and are not usually visible to the human eye, are, in fact, agglomerations of subparticles. They are mostly neutrinos, but there are others. When the balance is minimal in neutrinos, and other groups are more abundant, it is usually called DOR, or deadly organ, and these are not luminous. They appear as dark spots, sometimes oily. But in the pyramid, astonishing amounts of neutrinos accumulate, and these have the property of acting as repairers for all the atoms that lack particles. They produce infinite adjustments in the atomic and molecular plane, translating into complex organisms as vitalization. So, to these effects of rearrangement and quantum completeness, the tension ordering effect is added, reflected in the molecular plane as structures better formed, under the patterns of universal laws. Therefore, our molecules are more difficult to break, water becomes more solvent and less oxidizing, and billions of atoms get reconstituted. Many others, which do not form a harmonic part in any organic processes, are swept away by the pyramidal field, by a natural effect of selectivity. What remains firm, well, it stays. What is not correctly related to the rest of the matter, is dragged out by the pyramidal magnetic field.